This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Sidewalk controversy. Mahone Bay re-examines its patio bylaw following the death of a local senior.
Does smell a lot like sewage.
Some Bedford residents complain a foul odor is overtaking their boardwalk.
And the Crochet crowd, how an Annapolis Valley crafter is helping promote mental health.
Downpours departing and the humidity dropping as the skies clear for Wednesday. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. The town of Mahone Bay is reviewing its sidewalk patio bylaws after an outcry over the death of a well-known senior who fell and was injured before dying a few days later.
Barbara Minard was 100 years old and a popular figure throughout the community. Her fall happened outside a restaurant which recently installed a patio structure.
And as Gareth Hampshire tells us, that's creating a lot of contention in the town.
Barbara Minard was a beloved member of the community in Mahone Bay. A well-known reverend, people would see her around town every day and have been upset by her death. Her fall outside the restaurant has turned into a big issue. Her family says she fractured her finger and hand after she lost balance when using her walker, going from the patio walkway to the sidewalk last month. She called them from hospital.
And she said, "Oh, I'm in so much pain." And she had her right arm elevated. And, usually, Mom would say, "I'm fine."
They report she was otherwise healthy, and while no autopsy was done confirming the fall caused her death, the family want the patio taken down.
She was very, very concerned about having letters written to the city, having some kind of action that would get changed, have the structures changed or removed from the city.
They started a petition at the church where she still performed the occasional wedding or baptism.
Everyone at church signed the petition. We're calling the petition Sidewalks Are for People, and we're simply asking that the sidewalk be restored and returned to the residents of Mahone Bay.
Anne took the case to Mahone Bay Council, who approved the structure, but are now examining the sidewalk patio bylaw.
Going forward, is there something in this bylaw that we missed that we need to look into further? Are there safety issues that we should or change how a patio would be in compliance?
Danielle King, the owner of the restaurant Eli and Tricks, says the patio was inspected by the town, the municipality, fire, and liquor and gaming. She says Barbara Minard was a regular and well-liked by the staff, who've told her the fall happened on the slope of the sidewalk, not the patio. She also says she has received threats, which RCMP are investigating. Her partner spoke at the council meeting.
That if there is some evidence that the fall was the cause of her death, it seems both unlikely and it should be produced.
The business is now installing metal plates instead of the mats where the deck meets the sidewalk. That's not enough for the family, who still don't consider it safe and are continuing with their petition. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Mahone Bay.
The death toll in that horrific flood disaster in Texas is still climbing after torrential rains hammered parts of the state. Flooding is well documented here in Nova Scotia. Tragedy struck just 2 years ago when 4 people, including 2 children, died after being swept away. In fact, flooding is Canada's most common natural disaster. As Shayna Luck explains, experts say there's a lot of work to be done to mitigate the risks.
This widespread flooding in Nova Scotia in 2023 claimed the lives of 4 people and caused hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. The Sackville River, one of many that flooded. But as of this year, people who live along it can look to updated flood mapping to understand more about the risks.
Hooray! Hooray! Long overdue.
Walter Regan has been advocating for floodplain mapping and zoning for this river for 37 years.
We have baby seats for children. We have seat belts. The zoning, floodplain zoning, is a public protection measure that's cost-effective and long overdue.
Floodplain zoning could prohibit new building in areas prone to flooding, but zoning and mapping is incomplete for most rivers in Canada.
On average, across Canada, flood risk maps are 20 to 25 years out of date.
Maps are the first step towards keeping people safe from flooding. Experts say investing in diverting the water and issuing warnings come next.
The thing about extreme events is even the morning of, you may not be able to predict the severity of that extreme event.
That includes disasters like the 2013 Alberta flooding, which displaced tens of thousands of people, and Toronto flooding last year that clogged the subway and a major highway. Canada doesn't have a national early warning system for flash floods. Rivers are provincial jurisdiction, and each province handles alerts differently, but they all face a similar challenge.
Sadly, it probably will get worse in the future. We need to adjust the way we live. We need to prepare for something big in every region.
Walter Regan is thinking now of hundreds of other rivers in his home province. He urges decision makers to move quickly to lessen the risks.
They say in the tree world, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now.
He believes it could save money and save lives. Shayna Luck, CBC News, Halifax.
We have an update to the exposure locations and times related to a measles case in Pictou County. On Monday, Nova Scotia Health confirmed a case and others in the area who are also ill with measles-like symptoms. The authority says people who were at the Aberdeen Hospital ER in New Glasgow on Saturday, July the 5th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. may have been exposed. They're also warning those who may have been at St. Martha's Regional Hospital Emergency Department in Antigonish on the same day between 10:45 a.m. and 2:15 p.m. Symptoms can emerge between 7 and 21 days after exposure.
The provincial government has added 4 new cellular towers at 4 sites across the province. 3 of the new towers are in southwest Nova Scotia and 1 is in Halifax County. The towers were built as part of the Cellular for Nova Scotia program, which aims to improve service in underserved areas. Phase 1 of the program will upgrade 27 sites, while Phase 2 will add 27 towers to expand coverage.
Was a wet one out there in Halifax at times today. Here's Ryan Snoddon with the first look at the weather.
Some pockets got some pretty heavy downpours.
Yeah, including the Halifax area for, my mic's on. Maybe it's not. There we go. Now it's on. Was it on before? Sorry about that. Now it's on. There we go. Okay, making sure. So including the Halifax area, again, some heavy downpours that rolled through the area. And yeah, it definitely, when it rained, it poured today, right? But the good news is those downpours are on the way out. And you can see those high temperatures today. 26 in Keji, so pretty toasty there. Most of us, though, in those low to mid 20s. And as we look at the outlook here with the hour by hour, note those really intense heavy downpours of rain are moving their way out. Now, it looks like it is going to be a bit of a sluggish start to Wednesday, especially across the southern part of the province and along that Atlantic coastline. Maybe, just maybe, a few isolated sprinkles there along the Atlantic coastline. We will see a brighter sky from start to finish across northern parts of the province, and we're all into the sunshine into the afternoon. Wednesday afternoon is looking pretty sweet indeed, and looking way ahead to the weekend, it's looking pretty good too. 7-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Sounding good. Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Residents in Bedford say their recreation areas are being overshadowed by a potent odor. All stems from an issue with the Mill Cove water treatment facility. As the CBC's Meg Campbell has that story.
The view from the Bedford Boardwalk can be described as scenic by some residents, but as of late, other reactions may include PU.
It does smell a lot like sewage. Like, it does smell like, I have 2 cats in their cat litter box. You know, they poop and pee in it, and it gets like very smelly. And we come through here and it smells just like that almost. Like, it smells like there's some sort of like sewage leak, or somehow there's just like baby diapers everywhere across the street, you know, sort of like that.
The stench is coming from the Mill Cove wastewater treatment facility by the boardwalk. Halifax Water says the smell stems from certain factors they are looking into, including maintenance and sludge removal.
We are working towards, as I said, looking for any optimization we can or efficiencies to mitigate it so it doesn't happen as frequently. As well, in the long term, we're going to be doing upgrades at the facility here to improve the operations of the system.
Johanna Lohman lives nearby the treatment facility and boardwalk, and she has grown frustrated with the information Halifax Water has relayed.
They came back with the same sort of song and dance that the wastewater management has sent out people, that everything seemed to be fine, and that they've got this 5-year plan to upgrade the facility, but I heard that 6 years ago. It has affected a lot of the families that come here to have their lunches, their picnics, it's children's groups, and just the general walkers and runners. I hear from them regularly. Just fix the problem. Put the money into it, get it done ASAP.
Bedford residents say they want to enjoy the recreation areas again, and they aren't putting on airs about their distaste for the stink.
There could be a health issue or impact of that smell. So hopefully the management or the government can look on that and most probably find a solution to that. We'll be very much happy because this is the place that we come to every day and we enjoy as a family.
Meanwhile, the long-term upgrades the city is promising are expected by 2031. Meg Campbell, CBC News, Bedford.
Colchester County is planning to build an almost $8 million pedestrian bridge across the Salmon River in Lower Truro. With federal funding already approved, the municipality will pay just over a quarter of the cost for the project at the Fundy Discovery Site. Colchester Mayor Christine Blair tells CBC the curved design will stand out and hopefully draw tourists. An amphitheater and playground have also been added to the site to attract visitors.
45 years after Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope, his younger brother Daryl is carrying on his legacy. Daryl Fox and a group of dedicated cyclists are almost a month into their National Ride of Hope. They started their 7,000-kilometer journey in Vancouver. CBC News caught up with him during the Nova Scotia leg in Amherst, where he talked about completing the journey.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be very emotional. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I look forward to going home. I'm keen to go home. And when I say that, I feel incredibly guilty because this is only 32 days. Terry ran for 143. So he would have done this times 4 and still had to get up. So so that makes me feel guilty because I'm kind of wanting it to be over because it's been a challenge.
Fox also made stops in New Brunswick and PEI today. A crafter in the Annapolis Valley has amassed a large and loyal online following for his group, the Crochet Crowd.
As the CBC's Vern Rameser reports, he's been using his popularity to focus on how crocheting can help with mental health.
At a Michaels in New Minas, crochet hooks are proving to be tools for mental health. It was started by Michael Selleck, the founder of the online group Crochet Crowd.
My brain is a messy pile of the garbage dump, and so what I need is that sense of just calm. Put this hook in the hand, and my mind just naturally files stuff where it should.
After 17 years together, Michael Selleck and his partner Daniel have learned that healing often comes from unexpected places, like a crochet hook and a Wednesday night tradition.
It is really just a connective space, and I find out what's going on in the community by just going to this group.
Genevieve Bondi, who moved to the area from Ottawa, joined the group a year ago. She's now making pieces like the cardigan she's wearing. She says the group became a lifeline after moving to Nova Scotia.
We've met a lot of new people. Well, I have at Stitch Group, definitely, and it's been a great way to integrate.
Between Stitch nights and the gardens they built together, Michael and Daniel have created spaces where unraveled minds can find peace. Michael says for him, crocheting is therapeutic.
I find it's a sense of meditation and coming down off stuff, but it's also a way to realize that your life might not be so bad if you can process it and stop panicking and just mellow out with the stitches.
That healing extends online, where Michael's tutorials have reached 1.3 million followers, some watching in their darkest moments. This December, he's launching Everyday Stitch, a new project expanding crochet's therapeutic reach.
If you can reach somebody that is in a hole, even if just giving a like on social media is their thing that is going to propel them to get to the next moment, we as a community can do that together. And so we need to find the good in others. Even if it's not a great project, there's always something good with crochet.
In the meantime, the local group will keep meeting for their adults-only get-togethers.
Michaels has a sign on there saying, "This room may contain nuts and cannot guarantee it's nut-free. Welcome to the nuts."
Because you never know how rowdy crochet talk can get. Vernon Ramasar, CBC News, near Wolfville.
Yep, there was some rain today.
Sure was.
Looking pretty lush there. Ryan's up next with his full forecast. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
Yes, it was spilling at times today for sure, but things starting clearing.
Yes, and the humidity, of course, was humid today, too. We're going to see a drop in that.
Still a bit muggy tonight in terms of the sleeping conditions, but we'll really watch those dew points fall away for tomorrow. So some good news there. But yes, it's definitely been one of those days where it's felt southern Florida-like. Soupy indeed. Have a look at the webcam. I was showing this earlier to Tom. Remember we were looking at this and it was just completely socked in.
Yeah, sure was.
And now that fog monster a little further offshore at Peggy's. But we'll likely still, flirt in and around the coast for tonight as we look again at that live shot of Peggy's Cove, courtesy of Nova Scotia webcams. Looking at the temperatures out there right now, high teens, low 20s for most. A little bit warmer towards the south and west. Shelburne rather, and back towards Kedgie, both at 25. There's the dew point, and you can see that it is all pretty much in the humid to oppressive range across the mainland. Some drier air already starting to work into Cape Breton and across northern parts of New Brunswick, and that drier air will push in and across the entire province as we move into the overnight. Shelburne dew point right now 23, so really feeling quite humid there. And this is basically where we've got our frontal boundary as it continues to move through the region along this front. We're going to be watching the downpours as it moves out. The downpours departing. As of the last check, that last band that we were watching this afternoon over Lunenburg County, I was talking about that on the radio this afternoon, that has started to push its way off, as I mentioned, on Main Street there. So as we can look at the weather systems map, this will continue to depart. And we've got this weak little low that we're going to be watching. That will push its way in over the next couple of days, but we've got some high pressure to build in before that, and keeping an eye on this area of high pressure to maybe thread the needle for a nice weekend. Temperatures across North America back into the 30s in Alberta and pretty warm all across the prairies for today. A bit cooler here in Atlantic Canada, St. John's and Halifax, both at 19 degrees as we know. Now, as we look at the forecast for tonight, temperatures for the most part 14 to 17, but we will see some cooler air towards the north and east of the province in these light northerly winds, which will be ushering in that drier air. So these downpours, these clusters moving out, and note the clouds fairly stubborn into Wednesday morning, especially along the Atlantic coastline, but we will be watching that departing pretty quickly. But with that, there's just that isolated risk for a shower. Halifax back down to Shelburne and Yarmouth for the early morning hours. By the time we get to about mid-morning, I'm expecting most of that will have cleared. Perhaps a little lingering cloud here along the South Shore region for tomorrow. But even there, I do think we'll mix out to a mix of sun and cloud into the afternoon. Temperatures warming quite nicely in what's to be a very, very nice Wednesday. And Wednesday evening looks good too. If you've got some plans, some soccer or baseball going on in the afternoon or evening, have a look. Temperatures tomorrow ranging between 22 and 26 for Cape Breton. Will be cooler again, eastern shore and the onshore winds, but into the mid-20s there. Back towards the north shore looking beautiful. There are those early morning shower chances for the Atlantic coastline, departing into the into the mid-morning time frame rather, and then into the west. And again, these are just morning shower chances, which will move out, and then we're looking at some pretty pleasant conditions into the afternoon. Now, for Thursday, this is going to be high cloud cover that moves in on Thursday, so the sun's still likely filtering through on Thursday early on, but it will thicken into the afternoon. Southeasterly wind on the increase, maybe a late day shower Thursday evening in through the southwest of the province, Yarmouth and Shelburne. And so temperatures along the Atlantic coastline are going to be a bit cooler in the onshore winds on Thursday, but we should be warmer away from that, especially the North Shore. And there are those showers, which will march in on Friday. And yes, with that increase in showers, I do think the muggy meter dances up a little bit on Friday towards the mighty muggy range, but it looks like it will be tolerable as we work our way into the weekend, just summer-like. And this is important because, well, not just the muggy meter cooperating for the weekend, but right now Saturday and Sunday looking solid. Mid-20s, some sunshine both days, and could this be, Tom and Amy, could this be the weekend we do it with no precipitation on Saturday or Sunday anywhere in the province?
Wow. Maybe.
Let's cheer it on for sure.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, rug hookers from across the country are crafting a special project for the upcoming Canada Games in St. John's.
And despite never meeting in person, textile artists are collaborating on a giant commemorative piece standing more than 8 feet by 9 feet tall. It's called the Tapestry of Pride.
We've been working on and organized a volunteer community initiative in support and to commemorate the Canada Games in St. John's in August. It really is a dream. It's a very large tapestry is what we're calling it, and it's a framed piece that incorporates 42 individual rug hookings from all across Canada, done by fiber artists that have come together to support the initiative, volunteering their time, their materials, postage to send all of the pieces from everywhere to come to us to put together for this piece. The outside perimeter is all of our Newfoundland and Labrador pieces depicting various scenes in the province. The next inset row, or 15-inch by 15-inch, are all the provinces and territories represented. And then in the center, 8 blocks are all of the 19 games. So Newfoundland and Labrador is embracing the country, who is embracing the games, who's creating a legacy. Yeah, it's overwhelming sometimes. Humbling, pride. I use pride in a way, I almost feel like I shouldn't be proud because I feel so humbled at the same time, you know? But this is something that that's come together beyond any dream, like just beyond. We're in the process of putting the whole piece together for the final tapestry. We had multiple submissions for various provinces, some of the games, lots for Newfoundland and Labrador, and we've really had to go through a selection process because every piece that came in was breathtaking and unique and creative and different. So right now it's the putting of everything together, make sure there's good flow and color, texture, style. I wanted every piece to stand out both individually and collectively. So we're in the process of finalizing those details. The tapestry itself, the final piece, is going to be on display at the Convention Center during the Games, and they've told us that it should be housed at the Confederation Building post-Games, so it has a home. And that was the important piece, that this has a home before, during, and after, because it's such an important piece. It's such an important collective of Canadian pride and community pride. And in our world today, you know, and in where we are in this world and in Canada, I think it's a great representation of how we can come together as a community.
International travelers flying in and out of Halifax can expect a better experience after the opening of a new facility.
new multi-million-dollar international connections facility is open now at Halifax Stanfield. This as the airport announces yet another direct flight to Europe. I'm here with Joyce Carter, CEO and President of the Airport Authority. So tell me what's going to be different for international travelers now that this is up and running. I know this has been in the works for quite a while.
It has been. So we announced the facility about a year ago, and we were delighted to open it last week. And so the International Connections facility, as a passenger, what you're going to see is you're going to see an improved experience if you're connecting from Halifax onto another airport in the country. So when you arrive at Halifax Stanfield on eligible flights, you do not have to collect your bags and you don't have to leave the secure area. You're going to be able to continue on your journey without having to be rescreened, which is really awesome because it allows you to have a better connection experience. You can enjoy the amenities in our hold room. You can just relax until you connect onto your flight. What it also means from a cargo perspective is that it attracts wide-body aircraft, and I know we're going to talk about Edelweiss. And so wide-body aircraft allows us to improve exports into Nova Scotia, exports out of Nova Scotia in the belly, what we call the belly of these aircraft. And so this facility as well will allow us to receive larger airplanes. We can use the belly to not only obviously carry the passengers' bags, but to carry exports outside of Nova Scotia. So an improved passenger experience, great cargo exports, and really just economically an improvement for the region.
And this isn't the end of the renovations at the airport. What else is coming in the future?
So this facility that we opened last week is kind of part one. If you're a passenger that has chosen arriving internationally to stay in Halifax, we're as well expanding and renovating the facility that you will use as an arriving passenger. So when you arrive in Halifax, and if you're staying here, as you know, you'll have to see Canada Customs and clear the facility here. That experience for you as an arriving passenger is being improved. So we're renovating the existing area that you're in, making it larger, making it brighter, retheming it so that when you arrive in Nova Scotia, there's really a sense of place as to where you're coming and what our beautiful region has to offer.
Now, Zurich is the next nonstop destination. How did that all come about? How often is it going to be operating?
So you're right. We announced last week a new flight with Edelweiss, who is a carrier out of Zurich. So they are operating this summer at Halifax Stanfield twice weekly. They're flying an A340, which is a large aircraft. So all the advantages I just mentioned, we are able to take advantage with this flight. It's a new connection for us. It's one that we've been working on for a long time. I always say these connections and building this business takes some time. We're delighted to have them service the market. First time for this carrier, first time for Zurich. And really what it does is it provides twice weekly service through the summer into Zurich for Halifax, but as well incredible inbound connections for our tourism, which we try to support throughout the summer.
Well, talk to me about the interest in European travel. First of all, I guess, are you surprised that Halifax hasn't become a bigger hub in the past, considering it is much closer than Montreal and Toronto?
Right. I wouldn't say that I'm surprised. One of our strategic priorities has been to develop Halifax Stanfield as a hub, and that's exactly what we're doing. So our international traffic today is higher than it was in 2019, which is awesome, and is growing substantially year over year. And to your point, if we can provide those nonstop connections into Europe, the flight with Edelweiss is just 7 hours, but some of the other flights that we have, which are great connections into the rest of Europe with carriers like Air Canada and WestJet, really does allow you as a traveler into Nova Scotia and leave in Nova Scotia to have a nonstop connection rather than to hub over another airport in Canada. So it's a strategy we've had for a while. Of course, with the pandemic, that took a pause, but we're really delighted to be growing it substantially as we have over the last 2 years.
Now, right now, a number of them are limited in the time of year, spring to fall. Do you ever see a year-round expansion to some of these flights to, say, Barcelona, maybe to Zurich?
Yes, so we are very fortunate to have Air Canada fly year-round into London Heathrow. That's a service that's daily out of Halifax. That flight is just around 5 hours and is, as I mentioned, year-round. So it not only flies through the summer, which is our peak tourism, but as well through the winter, fall and winter. The other services are all what we call seasonal. So we have 2 seasons, winter and summer. They are our summer service to support tourism. We work really hard with the carriers that are providing those services to grow what we call the shoulder season. So when you look at the months that they chose to fly for tourism mostly, and obviously as we build the business connections, then we have the data to show how passengers are going to Barcelona as an example to say, okay, can we take that service, which is a summer service, and start to expand into the seasonal fall and spring? And if that provides a good return for the carriers, then we look to go year-round with it. Ideally, wouldn't it be great to have those services year-round?
Of course, the tensions between U.S. and Canada have impacted travel. What are you seeing in terms of flights to and from the U.S.? Are people still going to the U.S. in the same numbers?
Yeah, so it's interesting what's happening in Halifax. I like to describe it a little bit as us bucking the trend. And so our transborder numbers, these would be nonstop flights into the U.S., are actually up year over year. So from 2024 to 2025, we've seen double-digit growth in passengers through our transborder facility. When you think about service to the U.S. in the summer, it is mostly inbound. So Americans are coming to our beautiful region to experience and enjoy Nova Scotia. Those flights are highly booked this summer, and we're actually booked through the spring. When I look forward into the fall, we don't have data yet on the fall and winter, but this is mostly outbound, so it's Nova Scotians wanting to get to warmer climates. We're watching the numbers closely to see what the outbound numbers will be in the fall, but definitely Halifax has seen growth year over year in our transborder numbers.
All right. Well, thanks for keeping us up to date on this. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your interest.
Coming up, the death toll from catastrophic flooding in Texas over the weekend has surpassed 100 as crews continue to search for missing people.
And batteries that are commonly found in smartphones, laptops, and e-bikes are being blamed for a dramatic increase in Toronto fires. Welcome back. Hundreds of searchers are digging through the banks of the Guadalupe River in Texas. It's been 5 days since a flash flood tore through the area, carrying more than 100 people away to their deaths.
The state's governor says at least 161 people are still missing. Katie Nicholson is in the flood area with the latest.
There's been a steady line through Ingram's main road. Searchers, emergency response vehicles, cleanup, and utility vehicles. Same here on the river. Lots of people out searching and doing more cleanup, while above, helicopters hover throughout parts of the river looking for the missing. There are hundreds of search crews up and down the Guadalupe River, some from out of state, places like Mexico and Florida. This work made all the more difficult by how the violent torrents of water slammed everything in its path up and over into the riverbanks. Recovery of the missing through massive piles of debris, a delicate task.
These large piles can be very obstructive, and to get deep into these piles is very hazardous, and those specialized teams have to go in there layer by layer because our first responders, also the safety of them is concerned. So it's extremely treacherous, time-consuming, it's dirty work, the water's still there. So we're having to go layer by layer, peeling these off to make those recoveries.
Then there are the recovery efforts of those who lost everything they own, like Henry Daigle. He barely escaped the rising waters in his RV park on Friday morning. Police told him he had to leave. He grabbed a few things and said within 60 seconds, the water was suddenly up to his knees.
The water is actually lifting my truck up a little bit. I'm kind of bobbing my way out. On the road, getting traction, but I'm bobbing a little bit. I realized just how close, I came to getting swept up in that current myself. Cops saved my life, really. If that trailer had been hooked up, which was 5 minutes later, no way I would have made it out of here. I would have been in the drink going downriver. They've been pulling me out today.
Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Ingram, Texas.
And the tragedy of the Texas floods is reminding the world of the dangers of too much rain. But too little rain also has serious consequences. Several communities in Saskatchewan are currently under a state of emergency. As Alexander Silberman shows us, severe drought is putting farmers' livelihoods at risk.
Looking out at her bone-dry fields, Corrine Gibson is taking drastic measures to keep her cattle fed.
Nothing even started. Nothing grew.
With historic drought, killing crops normally turned into hay bales.
This spring has been the worst drought that we've lived through in our 33 years.
Pastures have dried up, leaving ranchers forced to buy feed elsewhere or sell their livestock. Gibson moved some of her cattle to greener land, 300 kilometers away.
We're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not closer to 1 million for us to replace all of that feed that we would normally produce ourselves.
4 Saskatchewan municipalities have now declared local states of emergency. In response, the province is lowering the threshold to claim crop insurance. The forecast for the prairies shows a hotter than usual summer with uncertain levels of rainfall, and meteorologists say the lack of moisture is a trend.
The longer a drought goes on, the more likely it is to stay dry because the ground is just getting drier and drier throughout.
As persistent drought becomes a growing threat to farmers' livelihoods, some are finding solutions, rotating pastures and planting crops that better absorb water.
That has saved our bacon this year. Even with good adaptation, these droughts are pretty tough things.
Amid the dirt and dust, Clayton Gibson is desperate for rain to salvage his fields.
If we don't get a lot of moisture this fall, I'm not sure we should plant a crop next spring.
Tough choice, but a new reality for many, as some ranchers question how many dry seasons lie ahead. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Regina.
RCMP say active members of the Canadian Armed Forces are facing terrorism-related charges. Investigators allege that 4 men attempted to form an anti-government militia in Quebec. 2 of the suspects are active military. The Mounties say they don't anticipate the arrest of more personnel at this time.
It's really a society issue. It's not something that's happening only in the armed forces. Being anti-authority in general is really something that we're seeing even in youth that have nothing to do with the army, but are not happy with what's happening around them.
Investigators allege there was a plot to, quote, forcibly take possession of land in the Quebec City area, and that 3 of the 4 suspects, quote, took concrete actions to facilitate terrorist activity. They say the plot included military-style training, including shooting and ambushing. A 4th man is charged with various weapons offenses and possession of prohibited military equipment. All 4 made their first court appearances Tuesday afternoon. RCMP say searches conducted in January led to the seizure of firearms, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and 16 explosive devices.
2 pilots are dead after a mid-air collision between 2 small planes in southern Manitoba.
RCMP, Fire Department, Emergency Medical Services attended and located the wreckage of 2 small single-engine aircrafts south of Steinbach. The 2 pilots were pronounced deceased on scene. There were no passengers aboard.
It happened in the morning in the rural municipality of Hanover. Both victims were student pilots. The crash happened during a training exercise, according to the president of the flying school. Authorities have not yet released the names or ages of the deceased. An investigation is ongoing.
A new joint campaign by Ontario's police associations hopes to recruit more officers to address staffing shortages. It wants to modernize recruitment by attracting a more diverse pool of candidates. But as Michelle Song tells us, some experts say now is the opportunity to also rethink how public safety works.
Policing isn't just a job.
Ontario's police associations are sending a message. They need more officers. This promotional video is part of a newly launched marketing campaign to attract more recruits.
Answer the call.
If we don't become proactive and strategic in how we recruit people to this profession, then we will be at a crisis point.
Police. Ontario's police leadership says this initiative is the first of its kind, hoping to attract more talent to more than 50 services across the province. They say the campaign will help future-proof its forces from staffing shortages, especially those in rural and remote communities.
When we have shortages, it affects everything within the organization, from response times to the community. It increases workload on members, often having to stay later at the end of their shift to cover off so that the needs of the community continue to be met.
According to Statistics Canada, in 2023, police strength in the country dipped down to 178 officers per 100,000 people, the lowest rate it's seen in more than 50 years. But in the same year, Canada also experienced a major population spike.
We need to be representative of the diversity of our province, and that's a huge part of where we need to go and how we reform and modernize recruitment strategies.
More police officers doesn't necessarily guarantee more safety.
But this sociology professor says it's also necessary for communities to look at what issues are really driving crime and whether police are the answer to curbing that crime.
Perhaps, sometimes the question is actually about how we use police, how we deploy police, how police exist alongside other services that might be doing a better job or a more effective job at lowering crime rates.
Ontario's police leadership says this campaign is about building the next generation of police and finding the right kind of people to serve and reflect the communities they work in. Michelle Song, CBC News, Toronto.
Lithium-ion batteries power everything from cell phones to electric bikes and e-scooters. But in recent years, they've also led to a dramatic increase in fires.
And that's prompted an awareness campaign in Toronto to remind people of the dangers that these batteries pose if not used or charged safely. Dale Manukdok reports.
911. Lithium-ion batteries can burst into uncontrollable fires when they reach a state called thermal runaway. That's when devices are overheated and the battery destabilizes. That has Toronto Fire reminding people to be careful.
They're almost impossible to put out.
That's the problem. And they give off such high levels of heat and flame and toxic smoke. They become very, very difficult to extinguish. So when firefighters are approaching these types of fires, they know they have to do so in a very specific manner. They cannot be put out by water.
Fires caused by lithium-ion batteries can be cooled, but firefighters essentially have to wait until the battery discharges and self-extinguishes. For the second year, Toronto Fire and the city are launching their annual public safety campaign. Fire services responded to 29 fires caused by lithium-ion batteries in 2022. That nearly doubled to 55 in 2023. Last year, there were 76, and 2025 is on pace to surpass that with 43 incidents year to date.
Well, certainly we would like to see more regulation because that does mean higher levels of control. We would like the citizens of Toronto not purchasing devices potentially online if they're cheaper.
So we have a UL certification sticker.
At this bike store along the Danforth, salespeople are often reminding people to exercise caution, ensuring consumers purchase bikes with batteries that have been thoroughly tested.
Some really horrendous things can happen. And it's usually unfortunately caused by a non-UL certified e-bike or an e-bike that is improperly charged or has an issue with it.
Lithium-ion batteries are generally safe, but can become dangerous if damaged, tampered with, or improperly charged. The city says many of the recent fires were caused by attempts to modify or extend the life of batteries. Some things to look out for include
the battery making a funny hissing sound, if they notice any leaking of smoke or fluids from the battery, if it's changed in shape at all, or been exposed even to high levels of heat.
The city is reminding people to not tamper with batteries, keep them in sight while charging, only use certified batteries, and dispose of them properly. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's main stock index fell more than 100 points to cap off Tuesday's trading session, weighed down by losses in the basic materials sector. Here's a look at the numbers as we head to break.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
All right, it's that time in the hour when Ryan takes us someplace special in the province by way of a viewer pick.
Yeah, you've been getting quite a few because everybody's out and about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The inbox plumb full every day, which is great. Lots to choose from, and my apologies to those I'm not getting on the air because, of course, we can't show them all.
Sure.
But have a look at today's entry, and boy, a beautiful one. This one from the Bay of Fundy. Not sure where in the Bay of Fundy, but they were whale watching, so I'm guessing close to the Digby area.
Spectacular.
And Sandy Johnson noting that the sky looked fantastic. Lots of wispy clouds there going in all directions, horizontal and vertical. And yeah, beautiful shot indeed. Thanks to Sandy for sharing this. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. Now, as we look at the Wednesday forecast, lingering clouds in the early morning, especially for the Atlantic coastline. That's where we'll see our best chance maybe of a couple of isolated showers. Yarmouth, South Shore, Bridgewater, Halifax, Sheet Harbor, into Guysborough County as well. Those do look set to clear into the afternoon. Note the dew points really dropping through the overnight and into tomorrow morning, but still likely a bit of a stuffy sleep tonight, we'll call it, with that mugginess lingering. But into the afternoon for tomorrow, it's really dropping off. Hanging on a little bit for the Tri-County area, but and then as we move into the Thursday time frame, again, dew points looking pretty comfortable. And we'll be watching, though, the clouds building in on Thursday with the winds becoming southeasterly. And that is on the leading edge of our next system. So let's quickly run you through the timeline here. And as you can see, we've got the clear out for Wednesday, the increasing clouds for Thursday, and then we've got some showers that are going to be marching in for Friday. Though right now it looks like that system should time out nicely to clear into the weekend.
Like it. All right, thanks so much, Ryan. Well, a record-breaking moment in the music world to tell you about. 1,353 people braved the rain in Germany to form the world's largest string orchestra.
Sounds good. Musicians of all ages gathered to play in a town hall square in this West German city. The previous record was set in Hong Kong in 2018. This gathering beat that record by more than 300.
The musicians performed Beethoven's Ode to Joy, known as the European anthem.
And impressive, to say the least.
Yeah.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.